Good evening, everyone, and welcome to what probably is my last cabinet meeting, but don't cry, it's all right. Anyway, can we have apologies for absence, please? Thank you very much. To receive any declarations of interest and notifications of dispensations granted. Yes, Councillor Green.
I'd like to declare item 14. I'm a director of the Tyneside Trading Company, declaring registered meeting for that part of the agenda. Yes, thank you, Mayor. I declare an interest, a personal registered interest in item 5 and in item 13. I am Director and Chief Officer of Justice Prince Community Interest Company. We receive funding from North Tyneside Council and we're also housed within the Oxford Centre building.
Item 14, I'm a director of the North Tyneside Trading Company. Given the meeting.
Okay. Well, before we go on to the agenda, I just think because there's some new members here, could we introduce ourselves a bit quiet on us?
Evening, everybody. I'm Jackie Lawton, the Interim Chief Executive of the Council.
John Barton, I'm a Deputy Monitoring Officer at the Council.
Alison Mitchell, Head of Governance at North Tyneside Council.
Daniel Tyler, Democratic Services Team.
Chris Woodcock, Deputy Director of Public Health at the Council.
Vicky Smith, Chief Executive Border, representing the voluntary sector.
David Hodgson, representing the North Tyneside Business Forum. Business community.
I'm Karen Clark, I'm Cabinet Member for Public Health and Community Safety.
Anthony McMullen, Cabinet Member for Finance and Resources.
Councillor Stephen Phillips, Cabinet Member for Education, Inclusion, Employment and Skills.
I'm Hannah Johnson, I'm Cabinet Member for Environment.
Supporting and protecting children.
Roger Layton, Joint Trade Union Secretary, representing Trade Unions.
Diamond Okoye, North Tyneside's new young mayor.
Carl Johnson, Deputy Mayor.
I think you all know who I am, me. But I just want to say to our newly elected Mayor, Diamond, thanks very much. You must be very proud, and you ran a fantastic campaign, and that's why you're here. And I just want to say that we'll all work very closely with you, and we hope you enjoy the journey for the next year. I'm sure you will. And there's always lots to do. So thank you and congratulations. Okay, can we now have, agree the minutes of the last meeting on the 17th of February? Smashing. Now, Diamond, it's over to you for your report.
Hello, everyone. Like I said, I'm Diamond Okoye, North Tyneside's newly elected young mayor. My pledge is to create a safe and inclusive environment for all students, as well as equal opportunities despite gender, race, and disability. Our newly elected member of Youth Parliament is Maggie Stead. Her pledge is to utilise spaces within the borough for regular youth clubs and inclusive safe socialising. We are both looking forward to working with the Youth Council, North Tyneside Council, and representing young people across the borough. Currently, Youth Council have been practicing debating throughout their sessions, as well as gaining insight into how policies are created within the council. This has given us some themes to work on throughout our next few months that connect with myself and Maggie's pledges. We are keen to get started. Throughout our February meetings, we have completed a pre-consultation around the government's youth strategy and how the consultation should be conducted. This was submitted and we will aim to complete the consultation within all of our children and young people groups, as well as circulating it borough-wide. Our send Youth Forum are pursuing the Key Fund application, focusing on self-identifying skills, working their strengths and what we could improve on. This will empower the group to get to know one another and enjoy an activity at the end of their application and hard work. At the last cabinet meeting, you were updated about 2 members of said Youth Forum who attended the Youth Voice Matters conference. They have now attended this and thoroughly enjoyed themselves, linking with our SEND young people, not in the Northeast, but across the country. We have also completed some work with our foundation students at Tyne Met College, who are part of the 16 to 25-year-old group. This was to gain their views and opinions on the local offer and rebrand new materials. Our Children in Care Council hosted a young persons panel of interviews last week for the Regional Children in Care Co-Coordinator position. They excelled in the interviews, remaining professionally and friendly throughout. Our Younger Children in Care Council group have been creating care bags with support from Madlug and funding from Children's Services. Madlug donated a number of bags to ensure each young person has their own bag for their own use, ensuring no children has to move homes without something to hold their belongings in. Included in the bags is a fleecy blanket, a notepad, pens and pencils, a water bottle, toiletry, sanitary set. These were all items with our Children in Care decided were key to them. Thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to the next meeting where I can give an update on our further progress.
Thank you so much. And I think you've got a very busy program. And I know my colleagues here will look forward to the monthly reports to see where you're going and support you wherever we can. So, and it wasn't too bad, was it? Well done, well done. Thank you very much. Does anybody want to comment on anything there? Yes, Councillor.
Just to thank you for carrying on the work with the Children in Care Council and especially the care bags that you're rolling out. It's important that children in care who have to move sometimes quite quickly have the necessary essentials. So that's great work, and I hope you're going to carry that forward.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I think I'm going to start with and hand over to Councillor Bullen.
Share this one.
We are. Performance across the authority is on track, in particular the delivery of the Hour North Tyneside Plan 21-25 policy priorities. However, as previously discussed, the authority continues to experience challenges in some areas of delivery due to increased demand and complexity, which impact the overall financial forecast for the year. These are in areas such as education and healthcare plans, children in our care, children in need, residential and nursing placements, and temporary housing accommodation. The 30 medium-term financial plan work streams continue to address these pictures. Improvements continue to be seen in adult services, where our Home First approach to hospital discharges and increasing commissioned home care hours is reducing our reliance on short-term residential care, promoting residents' independence to remain at home with support. The number of children in our care increased marginally in January. However, market forces and external residential care and complexity of needs continue to drive financial pressures. The authority's safety valve management plan is forecast to reach a positive in-year balance by the end of 27-28 in relation to high need education. Despite high demand and assessment, the rate of growth for new EHCPs has decreased and is significantly better than the regional and national comparators. The homeschool transport medium-term financial plan workstream is starting to reduce the budget pressures associated with the increased inflationary costs and high number of pupils with complex needs who need support with transport. The number of pupils who use the service is stabilised, and there is further detail on all this performance contained within Annex 1 report. I'll now hand over to Councillor McMullen.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. As Cabinet has discussed in previous meetings, we know that there continues to be significant pressures in the 2024-25 and into the medium term. Driven by our current performance information, as summarised by Councillor Johnson, The forecast net pressure of the general fund is 7.7 million. That's 1.3 million better than the outturn position that we reported at the last Cabinet meeting. Many of the pressures in the current year are consistent with those faced in recent years, and importantly form part of our existing medium-term financial plan projects. To ensure that the work streams deliver the authority's strategic objectives, a dedicated resource to provide programme management was recruited to. The main pressures, as in previous reports, include the impact of inflation on both in-house delivery and externally commissioned services, as well as the rising demand and increased complexity for services within both adults and children's social care. Further detail of each service area is contained within Annex 2 of this report. Cabinet will note that the programme of work is in place to both manage and mitigate the in-year pressures, and the senior leadership team has worked with senior officers across the authority to consider a range of in-year mitigations that have been explored to support the 24-25 position, and these are now included in the forecast position. In terms of schools, the projected year-end deficit position is just under £10 million, as our schools continue to face similar challenges to the authority, and we continue to work with our schools to help address the deficit position. It is good to note there are no material issues in respect of the housing revenue account in regards to its normal activity, and the housing revenue account position is projected to outturn with a minor overspend of £58,000. Moving on to the investment plan, with over 86.3 million being spent in the borough so far this financial year. And as part of our 2025 January monitoring, further reprogramming of 0.6 million and 0.8 million of variations have now been identified for the investment plan, and challenge sessions are underway with senior officers to further review our delivery plans. Cabinet is asked to approve the recommendations as set out in section 1.2 of the Cabinet report.
Thank you, Councillor McMahon and Councillor Johnson. Has anybody got any questions about this particular report? Any comments about this particular report? Okay. Right, I just want to thank all the officers and my colleagues here for the hard work getting to this, what we call a balanced budget. And it's been really difficult through the year for all of you, to be quite honest. And I just want to say, despite that, you have done some amazing work and produced some amazing results. And you've continued to deliver despite the pressure you have been under with very little resources coming into the council. But I also like to thank our partners here from across the borough who also have worked with us to make things happen. And to be quite honest, that it has been, as far as I'm concerned, a real worry over the last few years as to how we're actually going to provide the best for the people out there who really need us, to be quite honest. And with our partners here, I think we've done not too bad at all. So thank you so much indeed. Well done. And a great deal has been achieved. Much appreciated. Thank you. Can we agree that?
Yeah. The purpose of this report is to ask Cabinet to delegate authority to officers, in consultation with Cabinet members, to commence procurement exercises for the services and supplies to support the authority, as detailed in Appendix 1 of this report. The authority spends significant sums with third parties on a wide range of services. Carrying out robust tendering exercises ensures that the authority receives the best quality goods and services whilst maintaining value for money. The contracts identified in Appendix 1 will require procurement exercises to be commenced throughout the financial year 2025-26. These tender exercises will include social value to support the authority's 5 key themes within the Our North Tyneside plan. The authority has an opportunity to further enhance opportunities for local businesses following the return of services from Capita. All opportunities will be reviewed and market engagement undertaken to support local businesses to tender for these new contracts. The social value commitments from suppliers continue to be monitored closely, which has resulted in positive social value achievements from projects across the borough. Several of these achievements are identified in Appendix 2 of this report. The report provides an update on the Procurement Act 2023. This will further support small and medium enterprises within the borough, as the Act promotes transparency of pipeline of tenders and breaking down barriers for small and medium enterprises. Changes to contract standing orders will be required when the Act comes into effect, and they will be approved by Council. The National Procurement Policy Statement was issued in February, and this will guide our procurement decisions and form part of the next commercial and procurement strategy. I therefore propose that Cabinet approve the recommendations as set out in section 1.2 of this report.
Thank you, Councillor McMullen. Has anybody got any questions about this? Yes.
Could I just ask, in the monitoring of the social value of procurement, that we check the people delivering the social value actually monitor the wages and the employment conditions of the staff?
Yeah, it's one of the items that we do look to monitor and start deep diving into certain contracts to make sure that what they said they're going to do in the contract is what they're delivering on. And we've got a whole contract management framework that we've been rolling out across the council, which has been pioneered in certain parts, but getting rolled out further and deeper. And then also working with the North East Purchasing Organisation to sort of work on the best practices they have and what we have to try and make sure we get that contract management working. So it's not just come along and saying we will pay the net living wage and then turns out nobody actually gets paid it, or one person gets paid it. It's the, if they come along and agree in that as part of the contract, that's what they are delivering on. Which sounds straightforward, but not always the case in the past.
Thank you, Councillor McMullen, because it really is important that this is monitored, and it's good to hear, to be quite honest. All right, Roger, agree with that? Okay, can we? Yes, Councillor Green, sorry.
I would just like to make a comment. I volunteer with a homeless group in North Tyneside, and they've had great value from the social value element of our procurement process. There's a group who've had a shower installed, so that people who are coming in homeless can actually get a shower and wash and dry their clothes and be made comfortable for the night. I'm going there tonight after I leave here. No, I won't have a shower, but I would help with the food. And it's just immeasurable, the fact that they can come in and get clean, get washed, have their clothes cleaned, and all due to this plumbing firm who we've given a contract to and have come forward and have helped with social value. So that's it in practice. Thank you.
Good to hear. Thank you, Councillor Green, because at the end of the day, to be quite honest, for me, it's always important that people want to put back into the area in which they sort of been provided contracts and things like that. If you've got a decent business and you're doing all right, it's a bit nice to everyone to put a little bit back and help those less fortunate ourselves. So that's really good to hear, to be quite honest. Thank you very much. So can we agree that report then? Thank you.
There's me to start off with, and Councillor Harrison will come in as well. I'd like to present the 6-month complaint report, which is an important part of how the council demonstrates listening and learning from our residents. When considering the millions of individual services and transactions that the council delivers each year, the number of complaints the council receives remains very low. The authority has received and responded to 389 complaints during the period, being consistent with earlier years. It's important to note that this is the first time the authority has reported mid-year. This means that a period of high and low demand in complaints have not been fully represented. The data shows that we resolve 64% of complaints at the earliest opportunity and provided timely resolutions and responses. More complaints have progressed to stage 2 during this period because of the requirement by the Housing Ombudsman for a complaint not to need a specific reason to request the stage 2 as set out in the Corporate and Housing Complaints Procedure. 48% of all complaints were upheld or partially upheld, and this is consistent with the same period in 23. The authority is keen to learn from every complaint where things have gone wrong and changes required to ensure improvements in future service delivery. Our customer promise makes clear what all residents can expect from the council. We're determined that each and every council service does everything it can to keep that promise. For the period of for this period, 2 of 20 complaints were referred to the local government and social care ombudsman were upheld. The authority acted quickly on the recommendations of the Ombudsman to resolve and remedy the complaints, ensuring 100% compliance with Ombudsman recommendations. Very grateful for everyone taking time to share their experience with us, and we ask Cabinet to, I'll ask Cabinet to approve this section 1.2 of the report, but I'll hand over to Councillor Harrison to talk about the housing section. Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. As the Cabinet member with responsibility for housing and property services complaints, I'm delighted to co-present this report. Like other service areas, housing has received and responded to more complaints in this 6-month period than in the same period for 2023, with an increase of 20%. Stage 2 housing complaints have risen sharply during the period of this report. This can be aligned to the Housing Ombudsman's requirement introduced in April 24 that a reason no longer needs to be provided by a complainant for an escalation to a stage 2 complaint. All housing complaints within this period were responded to within the required timescales, except for 5. On these occasions, reasons for the extension were explained and agreed with the complainant. For the period of this report, 29.7% housing complaints were upheld. Fewer complaints were received for the same period for 2023, with the upheld decisions being the outcome for 26.6%. On a positive note, our 2024 tenant satisfaction measure survey, carried out with a random selection of 5,000 tenants, noted an almost 10% satisfaction increase from the 2023 survey, with the service approach to handling complaints. The approach will continue to be reviewed and developed to ensure satisfaction continues to increase. Listening to our tenants and learning from the complaints is a key priority for the service. Complaint reasons include delays to a service being received, poor communication, issues with or non-compliance with policy and quality of the workmanship that customers receive. Identifying how the housing service can improve the service offered to tenants. Some service changes have already been introduced and others continue to be reviewed. I therefore join Councillor Johnson in asking the Cabinet to approve the recommendations set out in section 1.2 of this report and approve the publication of the 6 monthly complaints report. Thank you.
Councillor Johnson and Councillor Harrison. Has anybody got any questions about this particular report? Any comments? Therefore, can we agree this report then? Thank you so much. The next report is a 5-year plan for waste, and that's Councillor Ashley Graham.
Thank you, Chair. As Cabinet Member for Climate Emergency, I'm pleased to present this report on the Council's 5-year plan for waste. The Council has a statutory duty to collect and dispose of household waste arising within the borough. This comes with a significant financial cost and also an environmental impact. The Council's waste management strategy sets out our approach to reducing waste, increasing reuse and recycling in driving the circular economy, avoiding landfill, together with reducing the carbon footprint of our waste. Since 2008, we have successfully reduced waste by 24%, despite new housing coming on stream. We have reduced waste going to landfill by 90% and increased recycling by 8%. The waste sector is undergoing significant reform. The Environment Act 2021 places new duties on councils. In 2026, we will introduce a new collection service for food waste to our residents. The extended producer responsibility and the deposit return scheme will change the composition of the waste recycling that we collect. In the next 2 years, we will renew our waste contracts. and these will need to reflect the changes within the sector and our new duties. The 5-year plan for waste sets out the actions we will take to meet our new commitments and deliver our strategic objectives. It is informed by consultation with residents, particularly concerning the development of the circular economy, namely the sharing, reusing, repairing, refurbishing and recycling of existing materials, products for as long as possible, and the importance of clear and concise communication to residents regarding waste management, to ensure our residents are aware of what to do with each piece of waste or perceived waste, and where it can go to get best value. I'm therefore pleased to present this report tonight and recommend that Cabinet agree to option 1 as included in section 1.6 of this report. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Graham. Has anybody got any comments or questions about this particular item? Yes, Councillor Early.
Just wanted to say that the figures that you read out at the start of your report are very impressive, and sort of see a lot of good work that's gone into this, and I hope that the new measures will make us even successful.
Thank you. We have a really good team work together, providing this service to residents, which is really valued, as we all know.
Having said that, I would agree with that you have got a good team, right? Has anybody got any other questions about this particular? I want to comment. No, I know it's a really important thing that we've been talking about doing, but I'm pleased that it's ready to go. Thank you very much. Janet Hunter, thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair. I'm pleased to introduce and support this paper, which relates to the approval of the Better Care Fund plan for 2025-26 and provides a delegated authority to the Director of Adult Services to enter into a Section 75 partnership agreement to govern the Better Care Fund pooled fund. As Cabinet member responsible for adult social care, I recognise an integrated health and care system is key to reducing inequalities and, of course, the wider wellbeing context. There's a strong link between the Better Care Fund and equally well our joint health and wellbeing strategy. The evidence shows that joined up systems can support our ambition for residents to live healthier lives and maintain their independence. While this can improve outcomes for all residents, a key focus for us is the impact on reducing inequalities for our most vulnerable. The Better Care Fund continues to play a key role in integrating health, social care, and housing. The fund provides governance and a context in which the NHS and local authorities work together as equal partners with shared objectives for the benefit of our residents. Whilst our residents' health and wellbeing are shaped by more than just access to an effective health and social care system, joint working via a single local plan has helped the system to be as effective and as sustainable as possible. This approach has helped to relieve pressure and challenges, with system performance in the North East remaining relatively strong against a very difficult picture nationally. Some of the Better Care Fund measures are also part of a dashboard that is monitored by North Tyneside Health, Care and Wellbeing Executive to provide that ongoing oversight. The Better Care Fund accounts for 19% of adult social care revenue expenditure in the borough. North Tyneside Council would be unable to maintain the current level of services without the benefit of the Better Care Fund income. This in turn could have broader implications for the health and well-being of our residents and cause inequality gaps to widen. The Better Care Fund plan, assuming it's agreed by Cabinet, will be submitted for approval by the Health and Wellbeing Board on the 27th of March. And this report also requests delegated authority for the Director of Adult Social Care to approve changes to these draft plans before a final submission to the Department of Health and Social Care. It's a requirement set by government that we have a Section 75 agreement in place to implement the plan. This will be finalised following a national assurance process by the Department of Health and Social Care. And to avoid a risk of delay in transferring funds to the authority, this agreement needs to be in place by the 30th of September. I hope people can approve the paper.
Councillor Hunter. Has anybody got any questions about this particular report? Any comments? Yes, Councillor Clark.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. As Councillor Hunter said, the Better Care Fund is a really important element in supporting delivery of the Health and Wellbeing Board Equally Well strategy and increasing integration of health and care services, which greatly benefit the residents of North Tyneside. So I certainly support approval of the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Clark. But I also think there's something I've noticed over the last few years since the NHS and our local authorities have worked much closer together. I've witnessed some amazing initiatives develop, which has been very, very beneficial to our residents. And well done to those people who have actually things. And of course, without the Better Care Fund, we perhaps could not go into that particular area. But there has been some amazing developments in that particular area. It has worked out for us. More importantly, it's worked out for our residents, hasn't it? So thank you so much. Can we actually agree that report then?
And I apologise for the length of the title. It was not my doing. The Social Housing Regulation Act 2023 received royal assent in July 2023 and is designed to ensure residents of social housing are safe, listened to, live in good quality homes and have access to help when needed. The Act introduced a proactive role for the regulator to ensure registered providers comply with new consumer standards. The standards came into effect on the 1st of April 2024 and apply to all social landlords. The 4 new consumer standards are safety and quality, transparency, influence and accountability, neighbourhood and community, and tenancy. The regulator aims to ensure compliance with the standards through a programme of inspection, and all registered providers will be inspected by the regulator by April 2028. Pleased to inform Cabinet that a self-assessment against the standards has been carried out that demonstrates the hard work of our teams to provide quality homes and good services to our tenants. The self-assessment shows that the service is performing well against the standards in many areas, and whilst there is opportunities to further improve the service, these have been identified as recommendations and form an accompanying action plan. Further to the self-assessment, this report provides the outcome of the 2024-25 tenant satisfactory measures perception survey, and I am pleased to report that the results demonstrate a positive direction of travel, with nearly every measure showing improvement, demonstrate that the tenant satisfaction within our housing and property service has improved since previous years. Can I therefore invite Cabinet to approve the recommendations as set out in section 1.2 of this report?
Thank you, Councillor Harrison. Has anybody got questions about that particular report? Well, I just want to say that's good news, isn't it? When there's improvements there, particularly from our residents. So thank you very much, Councillor Harrison. Has anybody got any more comments? Yes, Councillor Green.
I sit on the landlord panel now. But there's real good work going on there, working with our residents and our officers at the Cabinet level. And it's really insightful, and it's produced some very good ideas, and long may it continue, and that open and transparent way that we're working together. So it's a really good board to sit on.
Thank you so much, Councillor. I know I get a good report about it when I do my shopping in Morrison's. I bump into your people quite often, and it's always a good report. Thank you very much, which is a change. Thank you. change about you, Councillor Harrison.
Thank you, Mayor. Cabinet will be aware the authority has a long-term strategic partnership with Equans. Equans was procured to deliver human resources, ICT, customer services, procurement, revenues and benefits, and financial services on behalf of the local authority starting in 2012. Strategic human resources returned to the direct control of the authority in 2013. Procurement and health and safety returned to the direct control of the authority in 2019, with ICT and finance returning in 2 phases in 2022 and 2023, along with the remaining HR element for schools which returned back to the authority in 2023. This now means that Equans is responsible for the delivery of only 2 services on behalf of the authority, namely customer services and the revenues and benefits service. The authority now needs to plan for the end of the contract with Equans in November 2027. In principle, Cabinet are asked to return the remaining services to the management of the authority. A formal business case will be developed and presented to Cabinet at a later date to support this recommendation. Given our previous experience of returning services from Kia, Equans and Capita, this has shown that this option would provide greater flexibility and value for money for the authority. I would therefore recommend Cabinet approves the recommendations as outlined in paragraph 1.2 of this report.
Councillor McMullen, have we got any questions about that report? Any comments? Yes, Roger.
I'm sure you would guess that the trade unions would want me to express support for this resolution.
That's good news. Thank you very much. Thank you. Can we agree? Sorry. I just want to say that a huge thank you to everyone, to be quite honest, for the last 12 years that you've had to put up with me. But I just want to say, with your help and your support and your hard work, we have made a big difference in this borough. It was quite a surprise to me when somebody rang me up and said, "Have you heard?" And I said, "Well, I haven't, but what is it?" "Well, North Shields is now the place to buy a house. How about that? Do you think we would have said that a few years ago?" Not so long ago, I met 3 people in Whitley Bay when I was out with a reporter, and they all stopped me. Fortunately, it was with the reporter. And they said, "I just want to say thank you for what you've done in Whitley Bay. I've got 2 daughters who live in Whitley Bay. And when they first came here, they were really embarrassed. Now they're extremely proud." I went round the corner and I was standing talking to actually the photographer and the reporter, and this man coming across, he said, "I just wanted to tell you, I'm from the Rising Sun." "Oh, good," I said. He said, "I just wanted to tell you, I bring my kids here every weekend. Thank you for what you've done." I haven't done it, you've done it. What's happened here in Whitley Bay? When I was the photographer said, "Oh, well, you just walk along with the reporter and we'll just take as you're walking along the prom." Walking along the prom, this elderly couple came up to me and said, "Henny," right, "I just want to tell you, right, me and Warlass, right, in the vernacular, right, me and Warlass come here every day for a coffee." And he didn't, I can't use the word he said, but he said it's something lovely. So, you know, all that has happened in the last 12 years, not because of me, not because of the councillors, but because you have all worked together with that aim to make this borough the best place that you can be, to be quite honest. And you should all be extremely proud of it. Because I won't go out of here with my head low. I'll go to hold my head up high. And you should all do that as well, to be quite honest. You have all worked together to make a tremendous difference to this borough. I know there's still lots to do, but you have achieved a lot. So whoever comes along the next time better get on the journey and make the rest happen. So thank you very much indeed. And I think, Councillor, do you want to say something? You keep nudging me.
After your baroness from Staines has been gone first there, Council, I will take the opportunity. I just want to thank you, Mayor Redfern, on behalf of the Cabinet and everyone else at the Council. The Council was a very different place 12 years ago when he came into power. We'd had 4 years of debt rising by 200 million. We'd outsourced contracts to Capita and Andre that were going disastrously. We delayed the former administration, Tories, had delayed capital investment decisions that left us on day one with a hell of a mess to fix. And that is what you've done over the last 12 years. You've got on and done the job. We took the big early decisions on capital investments, which needed to be taken and have taken a long time to recover from financially. We took the big decision on Capita and Andre straight away. It's took a hell of a long time to get out of those contracts, and ironic at your very last meeting, should we agree the end of the final little bit of the contract that is still outsourced. You've done many things in this borough, but what will forever be your legacy in this borough, whether any of us like it or not, will be the Whitley Bay seafront. Those of us that were around when we kick-started Regeneration Whitley Bay will remember Knockdown Norma was the name that the opposition not so affectionately gave to Norma. All we do, we had knocked down buildings, that's all we were doing. And now that seafront looks absolutely remarkable. They objected at every single opportunity they possibly could to the progress in Whitley Bay, but now it is an absolutely fantastic place to be, as you've just said yourself. The Borough of North Tyneside since 1974 has had 7 leaders. In a couple of days' time, you'll become the longest serving of any of those 7 leaders, taking over Brian Flood, which is a remarkable achievement, particularly as a directly elected model. To be elected 3 times back to back is simply amazing. You've done wonderful things. You know, we are the last council in this region that has both libraries and leisure centres controlled by the council. That's not easy. That took difficult decisions over the years. We've had to take big, bold decisions to be able to do that. You leave this borough a significantly better place than you will when you enter the morality. And that is what's at risk in May. You can continue to trust the Labour Party, who has consistently, over the last 12 years, delivered to this borough, or you can choose an opposition who will have to put council tax up by 15% with the £120 million of unfunded spending pledges. I just want to finally say, I know you must be really looking forward to going to Boundary Mills, to Morrison's and to Marks and Spencer's and not getting stopped by somebody to say, what have you done this week? So once again, thank you on behalf of the Cabinet and everyone in the Labour group for all you've done for our borough. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much. That's very, very kind of you. But I want to get back to where we started. And it's all about you, right? It's been amazing working with all of you. And it's been a challenge, but I've enjoyed it. You know, challenges are there to be sort of defeated and go around and upside down and work together. But we've got there. There is a lot to do. But don't forget that, as far as I'm concerned, that officers and councillors and partners work together on that one goal. It's nobody, it's all together to make this borough a fantastic place. So thank you so much indeed, all of you. Right. Now then, have we?
Got an extra.
Oh, right. Yes, this is yours, yeah. Now, I'm sorry about that, but we've got an extra item that we had, but it's just been brought forward. It's here. I've got it here. I've got it here. I will not lose my way in the last hour. Right. Okay. I'm happy to present this report, which is the acceptance of the Warm Homes. Yeah, the acceptance of the Warm Homes local grants from the Department of Energy Security and Net Zero and a procurement of delivery partner. And I'm happy to present this report, and I'm delighted to announce that the authority has secured a further 4 million. Is that right? Wow. I haven't absorbed that much. 4.2 million. Amazing. Over the next 3 years, is that right? So I just want to say that we have to pass Appendix 1 of the report.
Exempt.
Exempt.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's a report originally confidential. It's
It
not
was.
confidential.
Yeah.
And
Well, we really have to get it right in this particular thing. So I'm going to ask the Cabinet to pass a resolution exempting Appendix 1 from publication under paragraph 3 of Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972. And I think I've got all those words in the right place, right? Because this is one thing, isn't it? We talk about red tape, but it is, isn't it? I mean, you know, a firm can come into the borough and do something and get it done in about 3 months. Sometimes we take 2 years. So this is really important where we have the right wording. So nobody can come back and have said, why did you do that? You didn't ask permission. But we're now asking you, will you actually do this? So once again, I'll repeat it just to get it right. Cabinet, I want you to pass a resolution exempting Appendix 1 from publication under paragraph 3 of Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972. Can you do that?
Agreed.
Right. We've got it right. Thank you very much.